All right. Welcome to another edition of the Growth Unleashed podcast, where we have conversations with CEOs, founders, leaders of SaaS tech companies discussing various different growth strategies, and especially as it relates to AI. Today, I'm super excited to have with me Alejandro Pinzon. We'll call him Alex just for short going forward. Alex is the founder CEO of Druwo, a fintech company that is doing some really exciting special stuff in the way of payments B2B, small business payments. So, without me butchering it anymore, I welcome Alex.
Glenn, thank you for having me, and I'm very excited.
Fantastic. Well, look, let's hear, if we could, we'll just start off real easily with your story. Tell us a little bit about just your background as it relates to, your growth into becoming a founder and CEO in the fintech space, and really what inspired you to start up Druwo.
Sure. So I'm a four-time founder. I've built several companies in the past. I Payments were always a problem for me and for my customers. We all hated the amount of fees we paid and the amount of time it took for us to get payments working. I ended up working then in payments for almost 10 years, integrating payment systems, getting them launched, making sure they worked. And I discovered that the payment system is really dominated by a complex network of middlemen that participate in every transaction. And we all end up paying for it. It's almost 12 different middlemen per transaction, and we all end up paying for it. And that's why transactions cost 3 to 5%. That's why every product and service that we buy costs 3 to 5% more just because of the payment system and how expensive it is for businesses to accept those payments. So I saw an opportunity to disrupt. Nobody likes to pay fees, not merchants, not users. Nobody likes fraud, and everybody has a bank account. So I said, why don't we enable businesses to accept payments directly from bank accounts and eliminate the dozen middlemen that are making a ton of money off of all of us? And what seemed to be like something pretty crazy a few years ago, back in 2021, is a very successful company today. We service more than 1.5 million users. We're active in 4 markets now around the world. We've connected to more than 10,000 financial institutions, and we're building around the premise of eliminating barriers to commerce. And one of the biggest barriers is cost. It costs businesses too much money to accept payments. And we're becoming the first payment method that allows businesses to accept payments for free. And obviously everybody wants free payments, and we're uniquely enabled to deliver that thanks to our direct connections with banks and the amount of middlemen that we've eliminated. Yeah, that's a future that we're building. We're building a future where businesses have to surpass less barriers as they build their business, and costs and security and coverage are the ones that we cover.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And, I do have a couple questions. Let me first start with what has equipped you to be able to do that over I know there's just countless number of payment providers out there. So, how did you come up with a magic sauce that nobody else is able to do? Because everybody loves free. Everybody wants free. So
Yeah.
sounds like a major value proposition you would think, every payment provider would be on top of.
Yes. Well, I think it takes uh, a huge level of discomfort with the current situation, and I guess the willingness to say, I'm going to go after this, and this is the problem I want to solve, right? And there's many uh, problems that entrepreneurs solve for. Some are problems that kind of are easy to identify and easy to get started uh, on building a solution for. And then there are the big hairy problems that people say, yeah, that's a problem, but I don't even know how to get started on solving this. I don't even know if I want to do it, and it's a very hard problem. And I used to be I am a competitive athlete, and I like big challenges. So I said, well, this is a system that hasn't changed in 50 years. The card networks and Swift networks and the ACH networks were all built 50 years ago, and they
Hmm.
continue to be the way money moves around the world, except for, some countries are deploying real-time payment rails, but most of the money continues to move in technologies built 50 years ago. So it is difficult. And I guess I just said, I think think I can build something around this. And then, every day I'm working towards that goal. And then you look back and you see like, wow, we're making it. It's working. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what motivated me to do it.
That's
Uh,
great. That's great. It seems to me like it would be a no-brainer really for any business. I guess a question, like I would think maybe an obvious question a lot of people would ask is it's free for the businesses, your clients, it's free for their customers who are making the charges. So how do you make money?
Yeah. Well,
What's your revenue model?
so we want to offer free payment acceptance for businesses. So we want them to be able to accept payments for free, and then we can charge them for premium services. So we work on a freemium basis. First company to enable free payment acceptance, and then as customers require more features, like if you want to retry transactions automatically, if you want to have a granular role controls, if you want to have insurance, if you want to have additional features, those are the ones customer end up getting on a paid plan for. But the premise of free payments applies to most businesses out there. And the interesting thing is that the business model works. When you eliminate more than a dozen middlemen,
Hmm.
then you can still charge a lot less, and or even offer free payments to a big portion of your customers, um, and then the bigger players are still going to pay less than what they paid before, but are subsidizing this new reality.
Yeah, perfect. That makes sense. So what size customers is what's your sweet spot and who are you primarily targeting? If there even is a sweet spot, or is it, I don't know if it's broad or not.
Yeah, it's broad. We
Yeah.
like to think of us as a utility that can be used by any company of any size. We had so far focused on mid market and enterprise because those are the customers that bringing the volume that need those premium services. And now what we're deploying is that self service flow to enable any small business to sign up, get started, accept payments for free forever. We're going to be launching a free forever plan, which means that if you're a small business and you don't really need all the bells and whistles, you just need to accept payments, you're going to get
Mm,
those payments accepted for free. And once you grow, if you start needing additional features, added security, added controls, automations, etc., that's when you can move into one of our paid plans. And yeah, we believe it's the way to build a free payments company, and we believe it's
yeah,
going to be very successful.
that's amazing. Well, I'm looking forward to myself as we've talked about for my small business or both of my small businesses. So I'm looking forward to seeing this self-service offering. It's a great way to go.
Thank you. There are more small businesses than there are big enterprises. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to help them grow. And I'm building the tools that I felt I needed when I was a founder. When you're starting a company, you're
Hmm.
starting usually with little to no cash. You're probably burning your savings, and the more weight we can take off their shoulders, the better. And yeah, that's what we
That's
believe in.
great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that real quick then. So I mean, it's a good segue. So, you said like we're talking about the growth of the small business segment. How are you what are you doing to get on top of that? I mean, how are you getting in front of all the millions, tens of millions of small businesses out there with such a great solution? What's been your, marketing strategy and outreach program strategy and all that?
Well, we just hire the first marketing hire in our company. He joined yesterday. So we didn't have a marketing team. Most of our growth was word of mouth, just people using our product and then saying, "Wow, I really like this," and talking about it and recommending it to other business owners. That's the way we've grown so far. I do believe our free products or free tier is gonna continue generating that word of mouth. Just because if a product is good, if it adds value, it's something I believe people are going to want to talk about. But we are starting to build that marketing team. We want to do community outreach. We want to just get out there, create a lot of content. It's difficult to create content, believe it or not. And my comfort zone has evolved throughout the years. And at some point in time, I would have thought integrating with financial institutions via APIs, flat files, web services, host to host integrations. It seems like it was impossible, and now it's totally part of my comfort zone. And
Mm,
now my comfort zone is expanding towards including distribution and content creation and yeah, and being on camera or writing writing. So yeah, I think that's where we need to go. And now the conversation changes from building product and building financial services infrastructure to content and distribution and marketing. So
Hmm.
I'm excited. I like a big challenge, and now the challenge has morphed into a marketing and distribution and awareness challenge.
So this is your new ultra marathon, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, get the long. It's a long stretch, and it takes a lot to get there, but it's all
yes,
about persistence, and I know you will.
yeah.
How are you? Or I was gonna ask, how competitive is this space? Like, I'd imagine what you're describing. I'm not a big expert in the payment space, and I know the folks who are probably watching this are not, but I'd imagine you got to move pretty quick to get ahead of where people are going. Am I right? I mean, do you have a lot of companies on your coattails that are trying to accomplish a similar type model?
Yeah, well, there's definitely thousands and tens of thousands of payment companies, but I believe
Hmm.
we're the only one that offers free merchant payment acceptance. So I think building a new category allows you to kind of build your own ecosystem and just
Yeah.
differentiate yourself from the rest. I do see a lot of financial services companies building distribution of technologies that were built 50 years ago. So there's many companies that will offer card payment processing, ACH processing, et cetera. But I think there's very few of them that have gone back and said, let's build a new payment method that really changes the rules of
Mm,
the system. So I think we have less competition there.
yeah.
And I think it ultimately depends on how much value you provide to all participants. And by participants, I mean the merchants, the account holders making the payments, and also financial institutions. It needs to work. The most important part of our network is that alignment of incentives to make sure everybody feels like they're getting the best out of Druwo. So yeah,
Sure.
but there's a lot of competitors in payments. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. So tell me, let's talk about AI for a minute. So you just hired a new marketing person, you said. How is AI playing into your growth strategy?
AI is absolutely game changing, and I believe the company would not exist today if it wasn't for AI. And you might be thinking that, AI will probably use it for transaction monitoring, but that's actually the least important use case of AI in our system. And I'd like to remind you that we are building a company that's similar to the ACH, the card systems. Those organizations tend to have 50,000 people, 70,000 people working for those organizations. And we're attempting to build the same thing with a team of around 20 people. It's
David and Goliath.
Yes, well, it undoubtedly means that we need to be very lean. We need to move very quickly,
Hmm.
and we don't have the amount of money that these big companies have. And it's actually, I believe, quite an advantage for us. We don't have to go through 30 committees to get a single feature approved. We can have four people in the meeting room and
Sure.
decide a total change in our company's trajectory in just half an hour. So AI is very important because we had decided to automate absolutely every operational procedure in a company. So we actually have a project called Project Pioneer, and we're seeking to achieve full operational automation by April this year. And by that, I mean every single process that takes place in the company in terms of service delivery, we're going to want to automate that. So
Mm,
if somebody's getting onboarded, we want to check everything the merchant provides to determine whether they're eligible to have a profile in our business. We then want to check the descriptions of all the transactions that they submit. We then want to continue analyzing that customer's behavior as they interact with our systems. So we also want to deliver support, right? So if somebody needs help, if we had built this company 10 years ago, we would have had to hire a sales and support team on a per country, per time zone, per language basis. And just the support and sales organizations would probably be, I don't know, they would probably have like 60 or 100 people. And now we can have a single AI implementation that can resolve our customers' questions in just a few
hmm.
seconds.
I love that.
Manage disputes. If you go to a kind of a traditional financial institution and try to dispute a transaction, it's likely going to take 2 weeks because somebody receives a request, then they submit it to another team, they review it, then They send it to another company. Then that company sends it to the other financial institution that, the information has to
Yeah.
move back. And then you're sending emails and then you're sending flat files. And that's why those processes take
Sure.
days or even months. So by by becoming or by being an AI first company that seeks to automate every single task, we can now resolve disputes in just a few seconds
Mm,
because we can receive, process, make decisions on that data and
hmm.
decisions aligned on a specific policy, right? So we have our policy, and instead of teaching it to 10 people, we have a system that will make a predictable decision based on that policy every single time, 24/7. And and ultimately, these technologies are the ones that enable us to provide a free service because we couldn't provide a free service if every single process takes a person to
Hmm.
execute and somebody we need to
Yeah.
pay a full-time salary for reviewing documents. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants to review 200 documents every day.
Sure.
And so for me, it's how do we how do we remove all of the sources of cost so that we can offer payments without the cost and without the friction and without the complexity and drive that economic growth and make everybody more successful and more fulfilled with what they're doing.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that you're
Yeah.
going all in on AI for all
All
the
in,
right
yes.
reasons. Yeah, I mean, those are great
Yes.
use cases right there. How about on the marketing side? Now that you have a new marketing person, I mean, are you looking to leverage AI to help bring in new business, new and expose yourself to get more prospects and more business in?
Yeah, in terms of marketing, we've seen AI being used for content. We've tried using AI for content, but sometimes we feel uh, it sometimes lacks that authentic flavor and the message. It can definitely be used to proofread and to come up with ideas, but I feel we still need to have someone telling a story and someone wanting to share something. And I don't think that could be replaced, or I don't believe it should be replaced if we want to
Hmm.
connect authentically with our users. That being said, I think that in terms of like demand generation and dealing with the sales pipeline and providing support to customers in the pipeline is definitely where AI can shine. I personally don't like to wait for 4 days to have a meeting with someone. If that sales question can be resolved in a few seconds and I can make a decision now. So we'll likely use AI to generate more demand and assist in the sales process, and trying to keep that human touch whenever it becomes necessary.
Sure, sure.
And I've seen a ton of companies do that lately. I was listening to a podcast by the team at SaaSter, and they're uh, they're using a bunch of technologies to sell, and they've automated outreach, and I believe they're finding ways to have a full pipeline all the time, and their sales agents booked, in back-to-back meetings
Hmm.
without having to call, one by one.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
So there's
sure.
there's there's a, there's definitely a lot there,
Mhm.
and I think for us, the AI implementations are a matter of what hurts the most. What's hurting today? Let's find a way to eliminate that pain. Let's find a way to automate that, and then move on to the next challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of moving on to the next challenge, so tell me what lies ahead. What's the next 9, 12 months look like for you?
So self-service and time to activation is the number one product priority right now. We want users to be able to access Druwo in just a few clicks. We want them to be able to get to value in a few minutes right after sign up. So that means we need to automate all the processes involved in activating customers, reviewing them, and enabling them to process transactions. And also network enablement. We want to enable more countries. We are hoping to build a network that covers most of the G20 global markets in the next couple of years. So we continuously have calls with regulators, financial institutions, partners, potential customers in other countries to determine which countries we prioritize, and we're moving quickly to build that global network.
Fantastic. All right,
So it's a ton of
last.
work. We
Yeah,
also use we also use AI a lot in terms of that research
oh,
phase
okay,
for all of
sure.
our markets, right? It's every time we think of a new market, AI is the first thing we do. We use an AI
Yeah.
tool to determine the size of the market, whether we can go into that market now or if it's better to wait. And yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Druwo would not exist without AI today.
Mm,
I'm proud to say that because we can do so much good for the world because of it.
that's a great blanket statement right there. Drew would
Yeah.
not exist without AI, and it helps you do so much for the world. Fantastic.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Last question for you. If you could wave a magic wand, what would you like to see happen in the next 6 to 9 months with Druwo?
How many times can I use it? Because if it's because I'd like to use it about a dozen times.
You could get a 2 or 3 swings at
two, or,
it.
2 or 3 swings.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
as
I
far
would
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to actually qualify it. Just yeah. Let me hear where your mind was going.
I would like for Project Pioneer to happen. I would like for all operational tasks to be fully automated at the company so we can focus on opening more markets and really thinking on how we can build better products for our users. How do we drive more engagement and value and drive more value to our users? That's, I think, the single request that I would use my magic wand for. And obviously, if I could use it several times again, just to be able to tell the world what we're building. We're building something that will bring a lot of good to everyone. Payments are, to most people, a very boring subject. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and he said, like, I don't know why you always talk about payments, and I don't really get it why you're so passionate about it. And I'm like, payments are in absolutely everything we do. We were at a barbecue,
Yeah.
and I was like, everything you see here was paid for
Right.
today, yesterday, and somebody had to go to a grocery store, and the exchange of value had to happen. And so we all use payments, and we use it all the time. And even if we don't notice it, like we sometimes pay for subscriptions, and they happen in the background. We don't really know they're happening, and that's because somebody built that. And
Hmm.
since we're living in a world where we're in an antiquated system that costs a lot, then everything we pay for is more expensive. So I do want to wave that magic wand, and I want people to know about what we're building, and hopefully they'll join and be part of it somehow. And yeah, that's what I would say.
That's great. TC, you did it in one single wave. You covered. You got a lot of covered there just with one wave of the wand, and I'm sure it should probably could be a lot more too, right?
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Alex. Well, thanks for the time today. It's been amazing. Pleasure speaking with you. And if anyone who happens to be listening to the podcast wants to learn more about Druwo, where can they go?
Yeah, you can look us up on we're on LinkedIn, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So Druwo or Alejandro Pinzon at Druwo on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Alex. Thank you,
Bye, Glenn.
Alejandro.
Thank you so much. Take
All
care.
right. Bye bye. Can